Welcome to Boxing Fans Talk TV. I'm your host, TDT. You can refer to me as Miss T. As you see in the thumbnail, I said Boo Boo got his marching orders. What will he do? Let's turn to it. Welcome back to Boxing Fans Talk TV. I'm your host, TDT, and you can refer to me as Miss T. Y'all saw the thumbnail. Boo Boo got his marching orders. So let's get into it. First, I want to welcome Dre's Finest is in the building. What's poppin' King? Salute my sister at Miss T. You dig? I dug. As I always do, start off with the water check. 10. I can't break this cycle. I'm trying. At this time during the day, I'm always at 10. 10 bottles, which is 80 ounces, because I drink 8-ounce bottles of water. But for those of you who might be new joining, we strive for 100 ounces of water a day. That's 100 ounces of water a day. If you can bump it up to 128 ounces, that's a gallon, and more power to you. But at least, I don't care who you are and how big you are or how small you are, strive for 100 ounces a day. You know, naturally, it says that if you drink half your body weight in water, then that's a good thing. So, if you 60 pounds, don't, don't try to strive for 100 ounces. That's too much water. But if you're an adult, a regular size adult, go ahead and strive for 100 ounces a day. If you a kid and you weigh, 100 and some pounds, strive for 100 ounces a day. So that's what we do. Y'all can chime in as to how many ounces of water you drink. My phone number is at the bottom of the screen. Let me make sure that I got it up and running. I don't. So hold tight. Let me make sure that I get that going, because you can call in and speak your piece at any time. Anytime. You're more than welcome to call in and speak your piece. If you rather do it that way, we won't see you, we won't know you, and nobody will know your number or anything. Hold on. So get this up and running. Okay. It's up. So the phone lines are open. And you can also come in the chat. Stop what you're doing if you're in Facebook. Come into the YouTube and look for Boxing Fans Talk TV and hit the live icon button. I come on every day at 7:30 p.m. Monday through Friday, and you can join in the chat, or I'll put the link in the chat. You can beam in if you want. I'll do that right now, and it's like FaceTime for those of you who might not know the technical term of beam in. But anyway, so Boo Boo got his marching orders, right? Boo Boo talking about Demetrius Andrade. He got his marching orders. The matchup with his Mando. Now I hope I say his name right. I'll probably butcher it. I apologize. Zenobic Kanuli has went to purse bid, or a purse bid was ordered. So Boo Boo got some decisions to make, right? Um, he wanted or been trying to set up a match with Jamal Charlo to no avail. He been trying to set up a match with quite a few people. He been trying to set up a match with Canelo, who has been avoiding him since they were at the 154-pound division. Um, Canelo don't want no parts of Boo Boo Andrade. We just seen him fight. He got rid of his opponent in devastating fashion. Um, I guess when I was listening to the commentators when his fight was going on, they were talking about, well, we don't know if he has power or whatever. I think the man truly do got power. Not sure why the Charlos still want to not fight him or avoid him. Sorry. But I don't know. Every time I get near this window, I'm sneezing and whatnot, or coughing, allergies. But not sure why he don't want to fight Boo Boo. And if it's all about what happened to Boo Boo and his brother at one point in time in the past, that's not a good reason to not want to fight him. He's available. You know, he's in your weight class. You should get it going. Get it on and popping. Charlo don't want to risk his secure position. Now I've read articles, and I'm not saying this. I'm telling you guys what I read. But I mean, I don't think it's a stretch. They saying that Charlo likes his position with Showtime. They feel like Showtime is feeding them opponents that they know he can win, and who don't want to stay in that secure position. He comes off looking like a tremendous fighter or whatever. I don't know if that is true, but I know in these boxing streets, that is, if you want to call it, the rumor mill. So maybe Charlo don't want to risk his positioning, fighting at the way he fighting and with the network he's working with. Either way, there's no clear answer as to why Charlo don't want to face him. Now, do we think if he moves up to 168, talking about Boo Boo, will Andre want to fight him? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I'm sorry. If he moves up to 168, will David Benavidez want to fight him? That's something I don't know. I don't think David would avoid him. But if he goes up there, that's who he's going to face. I personally do not think that Canelo is going to fight with them belts at 168. I think he's going to drop it. You all know that he's trying to have a fight with the African dude who's at the cruiserweight. And once he had that fight, I think he's going to drop it. I mean, I don't know what y'all think. I think Canelo is never going to defend them belts. I think right now he's just on a campaign to win as many titles. So when he's done with boxing, he can say the however many division champion. Right now he's at 4. He's gonna if he wins with this African guy talking about Canelo, then he'll be at 5. So that's how I see it. Like he just moving around, just trying to grab hardware and cement his legacy as the greatest or something. But you cherry picking and you're a cheat. And so I don't know how you cementing a legacy that way. But I would love to see Boo Boo and Canelo chop it up. But from my lips to God's ears to Canelo's ears, I don't know if it will happen though. You know, and Charlo don't want to fight him, and they in the same weight division. How can you be in the same weight division? You have a championship belt, somebody else has a championship belt, and you don't want to fight them? Remember, the goal of a boxer should be, this is just not me saying it. This is boxing fans who say this. You should want to be the champion. You should want to be unified. And you should want to be undisputed. If that's not what you're here for, then what are you here for? That's the question I always have. But Boo Boo, he has choices. To vacate, he could do that. He can vacate the belt, drop it, move on up to 168. And I'm assuming he can ask the WBO to make him a mandatory for Canelo. If Canelo don't comply, if the WBO says yes, first of all, when he moves up, and Canelo don't comply with it, then Canelo has to drop his WBO belt. That will cease his reign as undisputed. If Boo Boo moves up and petitions the WBO to make him the mandatory, and Canelo complies, that's gonna be a great ass fight. And I can't sit here and tell you that it's a guarantee that Boo Boo will win, but I will tell you that I think it would be an interesting fight. Now, Boo Boo could, instead of vacating, he could face his mandatory. But from what I'm hearing about the guy, and I've never seen this guy, Zenabik Alim Kanuli. I'm just gonna say Alim or Zenabik. I could say that name. I've never seen Zenabik fight. But from what I'm hearing, he's gonna be a fighter who is a high risk, low reward, meaning there's some danger in that one. he could he could possibly lose. That guy is supposed to be a tough competitor, and he's good with the knockouts. So if Boo Boo decides to stay and face him, that would be a good fight too. But it's high risk, low reward. Boo Boo is one of these fighters who've been effectively or efficiently stalled out. It's been stalled out, and it's been on purpose. You not just got powers that be, and when I say the powers that be, that can be anybody from refs, promoters, sanctioning bodies, whoever. And it's not just them, but it's the fighters as well. So they don't want to fight him. They don't want to give him the payday, as Canelo was saying. But they've been effectively stalling him out. Kind of what they try to do to Devin Haney. Now, don't cry for me, Argentina, when it comes to Boo Boo, because Boo Boo gets paid. Boo Boo is a millionaire. I know he don't carry himself like he won, but he is. I find that refreshing that he doesn't carry himself like a millionaire. He don't be out here acting crazy and all that. I know he has some kind of troubles early on in his career because he's a young guy. Most young guys will, but he's pretty much a straight up and down dude who's looking for a challenge, and he's been looking for challenges, real challenges, for a while. For a while, I think the thing that happened with the Charlos, it was a bad move. I'll admit, like if you were slated to fight, paper sign and all that, and then you change your mind at the last minute for no good reason, I could see why the Charlos could be mad at you, but I don't see why you could be mad this long. He made a business decision that didn't work out for him, but he tried. I mean, isn't that what we get on boxers about? try to handle your business, try to make good moves for you and your career. But sometimes that don't always work out for the fighter. So Boo Boo made a bad choice. I think I don't know the details, but I think it was something about working with Rock Nation or whenever Jay-Z was trying to get in the mix or whatever. But it could have been them or somebody else. He just made a bad choice. But do we punish him forever for that? Do you avoid him forever for that? You can put in safety precautions. Like, okay, we'll fight you, but if you back out, this is what you owe us. You owe us what we was gonna get for that fight, and then for pain and suffering because you made us go through a camp and you backed out. Da 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 da. Why they can't put these things in the contract? I'm sure that they can. So it's really no real good reason for the Charlos, well, Jamal Charlo to be exact, not to fight Boo Boo Andre. And holding a grudge on that level is no place for boxing. Boxing is a sport, it's your job. You got to get the job done. But Boo Boo got a heavy choice before him. Um, Charlo just don't want to risk it. Canelo don't want to risk it. I don't see how that's the best fighting the best. And I will say this: Canelo is more than likely not going to defend those titles. He's going to drop those belts and he's going to move on with his life. More than likely, he is not going to defend those titles. So if you're waiting on Canelo at the 168, you're doing it in vain because that man is not going to try to see nobody at 168. Uh, Now, Boo Boo, on the other hand, has defended his title 5 times already. So it's very possible that he will likely move up because ain't nothing for him. Nobody wants to fight him. Even if he move up, is that a guarantee that some people gonna want to fight him? I don't know. We shall see. But be on the lookout in the next few days or weeks to see what Boo Boo gonna do because, from my understanding, that purse bid is being ordered. Um, they are or have successfully stalled Boo Boo Andre's career. I say they. I'm saying everybody. I'm saying the powers that be and fighters, and that's unfortunate for him. So all I can say is good luck to you, Boo Boo. Hope you get that resolved. Hope you do something that's best for you. Either way, I'm glad that some of the decisions you made because at least you're not walking away from the sport empty-handed. But things got to get better, or I don't know how your standing is going to be in boxing because guess what? You holding that title, you're not making no money, and that's a trend that I'm starting to see. These sanctioning bodies they injecting themselves too much into the fighter's career, and it's all about money, y'all. It's all about money. Some of the decisions they make and this, that, and the other, it comes down to the money, and that's what I see going on. Boo Boo, if you're not fighting anybody, you're not making them any money. Every time you got to fight. I kind of told y'all how that works. What you got to pay the sanctioning body, your corner, your promoter. Um, if you're not making the big money fights, it's cap. You know what I'm saying? The sanctioning bodies can only make so much. And if they rather give the belt to somebody who's gonna bring in the dollars, oh, they can set you up for the big fall. So you gonna have to be careful of that. Talking about Boo Boo Andre, he gonna have to be careful with that because it really do seem like your career is stalled out. So moving on to the next news, Virgil Ortiz is going to have a matchup with Michael McKinnison. I don't know Michael McKinnison. He's a fighter who normally fights a lot of UK fighters. From what I'm told, he can do a lot of good slippage. He can make you miss, and that's a good thing. If he can do that, make you look funny. I mean, if you're in the fight and you keep missing and everything, that could become frustrating for any fighter. So Virgil he got a little challenge on his hand, but make no mistake about it. This is a busy fight. It's gonna be on the zone, and it's probably gonna take place in early part of 2022. Ortiz, let me tell you how they ranked them. Ortiz is ranked number one with the WBC. He's ranked number two with the I'm sorry, number one with the WBO, and number two with the WBA, and I believe he's ranked number four with the IBF. Now, this is a guy that's in the welterweight division. That's for some of y'all newcomers. That's the Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence division right there, the 147 pounds. He's pretty much ranked number one or two, or right up there in the top five. So he's in line to fight those top guys. But as I said on my program yesterday, those guys shouldn't be paying attention to nobody but themselves. Like Bud shouldn't worry about nobody but the people with the belts. Errol shouldn't worry about nobody but with the people with the belts. And the same thing for your Danish Ugas. Once all of that get worked out and worked through, then and only then should they then turn their eyes to other people in their division, the number one ranked contenders and prospects as such. But before that, to do it before that, you are potentially derailing yourself, because anything can happen in a fight. Anything. It's a risky thing for for instance, we want to see the Spence and Crawford fight. That's what most of us as fans want to see. But Spence now got an opportunity, as well as Ugas, to fight each other. And three belts are on the line. One of them gonna come out the winner. I cannot guarantee that Spence will win. He has a strong possibility that he will win. But your Danish Ugas is a good fighter. He's an excellent fighter. He's a Cuban fighter, and that means something in boxing. But Spence's style, Cubans train for that all the time. Spence's a southpaw, but Cubans are excellent at derailing southpaws. So we really don't know how that's going to turn out. But those two are going to face, and I guess Crawford going to want the winner of both. What's the risk? The risk is if you could get it. Anything can happen in that ring. We just saw what happened with Brown and Better BF with the big gash in his head. If you get cut or anything like that, or you get knocked out, you have to wait a certain amount of time. Now, for each incident, like a cut might be different amount of time than a knockout. But if any of that happens in the Spence and Ugas fight, that's gonna be extra time we gotta wait for the Crawford and Spence fight. So I'm not even gonna get happy or expect a fight between those two, talking about Spence and Crawford, until the fall of at least at the fall of next year, 2022. If all goes right. Because Spence and Ugas is slated to fight either in March or April. So Virgil Ortiz, you being a number one contender, um, you kind of like taking a step backwards with this fight that you got with McKinnison. Nothing against McKinnison, I don't know him, but it sounds like a busy fight to me, or the stay active type fight, or but it is a step down, because you know who the big dogs are. Virgil, you could have faced off with Boots. Both of y'all kind of in the same, positioning. Y'all both kind of at the same level. That could have been an interesting fight, you know. But you chose to pick someone in McKinnison, or maybe your team chose. Either way, you staying active. Maybe you'll be, I don't know. Maybe that'll help you keep your position, and maybe that's what you worried about. But it is your career. Um, you got to be careful not to do that too many times. When you have an opportunity, you got to take it. Same thing go for Boots. But for real, between Boots and Virgil, who are like at the top ranking of all the sanctioning belts in the 147 division, You guys gotta know that you probably not gonna get a fight with the two big dogs or the three big dogs, I should say, because I keep leaving Ugas out and I shouldn't. The three big dogs. So um, I don't know. I don't know what y'all gonna do. I don't know what's next for Boots. If that's next for McKinson or whatever. But be careful, Virgil, because you can't do that too many times. Like taking step downs or those type of fights. You got to be careful of that with your career because with the eye on the prize. Keep your eye on that prize. You know, do stay active, but do be you're ranked so high. At this point in time in your career, you have to make better choices. And maybe that was the only choice you had. I'm not trying to ride you or anything because I like you as a fighter. I do say you don't have a lot of tools in the bag to grab from, as Floyd would call it, no special effects. I do say that. It don't mean that you can't get better. But if you get in there with somebody who can hit you hard and outbox you, you're gonna be in trouble. So you do have some things to work on. I can see why you wouldn't want to get in the ring with Bruce Ennis because that's exactly what you'll go through. Um, so shout outs to Virgil Ortiz for staying active. That's all I can say about you right now. Moving on to Joshua. Okay. So I guess Joshua is feeling optimistic these days. We know that Joshua lost all his titles in September in a fight with Alexander Usyk. Y'all recognize him from he's the last picture that shows in my intro. Alexander Usyk was determined. He knew he was going to win, or he had confidence in himself, and he willed himself to win. Joshua didn't have nothing for him. He was a better boxer that night. I'm not saying that Joshua can't box, but you could tell that's a struggle for him when he's in there with a more pure boxer. Alexander Usyk talked like he not scared of nobody. He not scared of Deontay. He not scared of Tyson Fury. He not scared of none of those guys. And so, but he's giving AJ the rematch. Now, for a while, we felt like AJ didn't want the rematch. He was hemming and hawing. He was doing an American tour of trainers here in the States, trying to learn something different or approach things differently. But we don't know what came of that because I don't know that he picked any American trainer. Maybe he went back to his original team, but he did, solicit some trainers to try to change his game up to help him in a fight with a more pure boxer. And they received him. And again, we don't know what came of it because there's no conclusion. We don't know of anybody that he picked. So we have to assume that he went back to his trainer. But here lately, I guess he's feeling optimistic about his rematch. And I don't know why either his team or him put out their attack. The rematch would probably be going down around April. And we already know that Spence and Ugas is probably going to be in March and April. We can't expect that Spence is going to do an undercard, like he's going to be on somebody's undercard. That rematch between Joshua, they should be the main event. So if we get back to back fights like that, that'll be good. The only reason that I would care to watch Joshua in a rematch is because, you know, if he gets the belts. I'm pretty much at this point when it comes to all of them is following the belts. That's what I'm doing. So he's optimistic. It's going down in April. They expect, and y'all remember Tyson Fury wanted to interrupt that. He was gonna try to pay, or they was trying to get Usyk to step aside. I mean Joshua to step aside so he can fight Usyk. But as we see, that Usyk and Joshua is gonna have that rematch, so that didn't work. So It's going down in April. And with the tactic that they came out with is that Joshua is gonna bum rush him. Now I don't know why that would be a good tactic. I don't even know why they would put that out as a tactic. Because if you bum rush him, you're gonna run into something. One thing you don't ever want to do with a pure boxer or a person who can box is to try to bum rush him. You don't want to do that because you're gonna run into something real quick. The whole time that Bud fight was leading up to Porter and him, I kept saying that. I said Sean is gonna, if Sean beats Sean, he's gonna run into something. And sure enough, what happened? He ran into something. That's what happens, y'all. You can't run up on a pure boxer. It's all kinds of things they could do. The bum rushing tactic don't necessarily work. And you can have a lucky stroke, like you running up on something and maybe you caught them off balance, or your sheer force pushed them back and made them off balance, or something to your favor. But that is not, and I repeat, it's not a good tactic. And people have been telling him, outside his surrounding crew. But his surrounding crew think that it's a good idea. Joshua, you need to upgrade your crew. If that's your tactic, you are not gonna beat Usyk that way. You should have learned that in the fight that y'all had. And then my other thing with that tactic is, why put it out there? If that's the tactic, why give your game plan away? Because now Usyk can be expecting that. Or is this reverse psychology? Is this some kind of thing like that, where you're putting it out there to get Usyk to train for it and look for it and be expecting it, and, put more emphasis in his training to combat that, but you're not going to really do it. So when the fight comes, he's not really prepared for how you're going to fight him. I don't know. I wouldn't do it either way. Once you got beat by him, talking is over. Just go and do the work, get ready for the fight and come back stronger. Come back with a more determined, um, outcome for yourself. That's all you got to do. Don't put out no tactics, especially that dumbass one. Um, like I said, if he do it, he gonna be night night. Really gonna be night night. But that's up to Joshua. So moving on to Eddie Hearn. Eddie is the gift that keep on giving, right? Eddie. Eddie, I give it to him. Eddie is trying his damnedest to get that Haney and Camboso's fight. And y'all seen my previous videos. I'm all for it. It is Devin's turn. Legitimately and logically. This man has been avoided. I just talked to you about Boo Boo Andre and how they effectively been stalling his career out. They've been trying to do the same thing for Devin. God forbid these two guys get the opportunities that they earned and get their moments in the sun so they can shine. God forbid. We can't let that happen. That's when you look at their situations, that's what you think. Like, what is the big deal? If Devin Haney is nothing, if he's an easy win, then why don't people fight him? But right now, the only fight that Devin should have on his mind, and I mean, if you gotta wait, I don't care till the fall of next year, is Cambosos. That's the only fight he should have on his mind. Now, from what Eddie is saying, he believes Cambosos prefer to fight Haney. But we had that month span of a lot of lightweights getting out there chopping it up in the ring. And a lot of them, in my opinion, got exposed, to include Devin. Not exposed. Exposed don't always mean a bad thing, but exposed nonetheless. Like I would say with Tank, that was not an easy win for Tank. I don't care what nobody say. I don't care how you put it. I can look. I got eyes just like everybody else. I'm looking at Tank's demeanor and how he reacted to finding out that he won. If you go back and look at that fight between Tank and Isaac Cruz, he didn't know how that shit was gonna go at the end. Isaac Cruz put on a show with him. Is Isaac Cruz a great boxer? No. There was moments in each round, or at least a couple of them, where Tank put on the clinic, and that's what won him or edged him. But he was hurt. He was hurt, and he learned that it ain't gonna always be the case that you gonna hit somebody and you gonna hurt them. And that's what Tank is used to. It won't just that he was power drunk, but he started changing his tactics and how he fight, like the way he would strategically try to place his punches. And ain't nothing wrong with that. But you gotta know when to hold them and fold them. You know what I'm saying? And Isaac Cruz, and I stated that before the fight. I said that's not the one you want to do that with. You want to outbox him, and when the moment strikes, hit him with one of your power shots. That's how you're gonna beat a person like Isaac Cruz. And Tank had a result to that, but he wasn't going in that direction at first. So that's why I say he was exposed. He really, he came through. But if Isaac Cruz would have threw more or been more aggressive, as I seen him before, because whatever Tank was doing to him did affect him. Let's be real. It did affect him because it slowed him down. But the Isaac Cruz that I've seen before, who gives no kind of fucks and keep coming at you, y'all talk about better BF being the Terminator. Isaac Cruz can get that name too. He just keep coming, keep coming. Tank did quell some of his aggression. He did. But that was to his skills and everything, and he pulled it out. But he hurt himself hitting that brick head of Isaac Cruz. So, you know, when I say exposure, it just showed me that you might have a chance. I ain't saying you necessarily got it, but you might have a chance if you could take Tank's punch and if you just as good as a boxer as he is. But Isaac Cruz wasn't as good of a boxer as Tank. But if he was, it might look a little different. But I ain't mad at the decision. Devin Haney, you did take some punches from Jojo Diaz, but you got hurt. You did get hurt, and anybody watching that fight who's a boxer knows how to hurt you. Jojo, he didn't have his foot on the gas enough, but somebody else who might can get you. Do you have a lot of power? Everybody say that. Now, if you don't need it, power, you don't need it. You got respectable something. You got some kind of pop. But a power puncher, no. But I'm sure you can catch anybody off guard and knock them out. I'm sure you can. It just doesn't happen in your fights. You don't finish them. And you don't have to. But again, another fighter can be looking at that as, Now Camboso said it after the fight that as Devin was walking out the ring behind him, I see all kinds of holes. Because they asked him specifically, do you see anything like holes or anything you could take advantage of? He said, I see all kinds. The few holes that Gary Russell Jr. and Batman, his brother, pointed out about Haney, I saw them too. And ever since they said that, I watch Haney fights and I see if that's something real. And I got to say, it's real. It's real. But Haney finds a way to win, so shout outs to him. I think it's only fair for him to get the fight because, again, he's the missing puzzle. He is the missing puzzle piece. And Cambosos need to be the one who honor that. Teofimo didn't honor that. He didn't, whether he was scared or not, he wouldn't honor that. Again, what is your goals as a fighter? To be the champion, unified champion, and undisputed. If you don't have those goals, We have to ask as boxing fans, why are you here? So I hope that is true. I hope Eddie gets his way on this one. I hope, but I know Eddie is working overtime trying to get it. Um, undisputed should trump anything else because all Lomachenko can get by fighting Cambosos is the belts that Cambosos got. He still won't be unified, and we already seen if Lomachenko didn't fight Devin before, what makes us think he gonna fight him now? As soon as Devin would drop the if let me say it like this. If Lomachenko gets the fight with Cambosos, he gets them belts off of him, which I think he will. He not gonna fight Devin, but we already know Devin can't stay at 135 forever. Lomachenko probably could, but not Devin. Soon as Devin dropped that belt, Lomachenko gonna swoop in, just like Canelo, and he gonna hold the belt. He not gonna do no rematches with nobody. And from there, he gonna coast out and just make money fighting whoever. He not gonna care what you think about his opponents. He just gonna matrix their ass, and y'all either gonna love it or you don't. But he don't care. You don't pay his bills. You don't make him rich. He got everything he want. So y'all cannot bend to Lomachenko, and that's really like saying bending to Bob, because y'all already know the lightweight division is gonna be locked up. Lomachenko is not gonna fight the top lightweights. He just ain't gonna do it. Once he get those belts. But Eddie is working hard for Haney. That's a good thing to know. In the article, Eddie called him undisputed lightweight champ. He called Cambosos. This is another reason, and I reiterate this all the time. This is another reason why I do not get mad at Teofimo. This is why. Because people like Eddie or even sanctioning body presidents will stand there and say that you are undisputed when you're missing the WBC belt that Devin Haney holds. If they say it to Teo and they saying it about Cambosos, now to be clear, Cambosos has never, in my knowledge, have ever really regurgitated any of that shit. I've never heard him say, I'm the undisputed champion. And to his credit, he hasn't did that. But he's a human. And it could get to him. Just like it got to Teo. Teo didn't pull that shit out of his ass. This is what people were saying around him and in his ear. If Mauricio Suleiman says it to him, and other sanctioned body presidents or people that have that kind of influence or power is saying that to him, why wouldn't he think that way? I mean, who you gonna listen to? The fans or other fighters, or you gonna listen to the powers that be? If the people like the presidents of sanctioning bodies is telling you you're undisputed, you're gonna be feeling like you're undisputed. So I can't be mad at T.O. for that. Because I see them doing it to George Camboso. Why would Eddie even say that? I wouldn't even use that kind of language. Because to me, your whole purpose is you're trying to get the fight for Devin. You can't talk about Cambosos like he is undisputed. To me, that will make it harder for Devin for you to get the fight with Devin. Because if he's undisputed, why do he need Devin? To me, you should just be like, you're unified. Or if you feel like you don't want to piss nobody off, Eddie, don't say nothing at all. But you are giving Cambosos the green light to be like, yeah, I don't need Devin. I'm undisputed. That's not a winning strategy to get this fight. That's where this notion starts. And like I said, they did that with T.O. And so Cambosos, I'm watching you. I'm watching to see if you fall victim to that shit too. Just so we know who they gotta work against. Eddie could be trying to get this fight all day long. If he's the only one trying to get the fight, maybe it'll happen easier. But you got Bob Arum on your flank, who is working just as hard to get his guy in, and he's going the route of the WBO. Now, we already talked about these sanctioning bodies. We know that the WBO is kind of like saying it's a top ranked belt. We know that. We know that the WBC favors Mexicans and prefer to their favorite Mexicans like Canelo's group or whoever's friendly with Canelo. But he's favorite. Mauricio Suleiman favors Mexican fighters, and he will do everything fair and unfair to let them shine. Well, Top Rank got that kind of influence with the WBO, and they in the back rooms talking and negotiating, trying to make Lomachenko the mandatory for Cambosos. But I always thought that undisputed trumps mandatories. Undisputed can trump somebody trying to be what? It's no I don't think you could say unification, but undisputed trumps everything. When you have that opportunity to be undisputed, you should go for it. So just so we clear, Bob Arum is in the background working too. And we're gonna see if he gets his way. Um Eddie always he's also in the Middle East trying to put a fight card together. Eddie likes the Middle East for some reason. He just likes it over there. Maybe because he feel like he can get money. Those guys got money to burn. You know what I'm saying? So Eddie goes over there trying to get all these fights. You know, he wants Usyk and AJ over there. He wants Fury and AJ, or whoever the winner of Usyk and AJ. He wants it over there. We know that Tyson Fury doesn't have a license to fight in the UK, so hence that's why he goes over there. That's not good boxing for fans because the time zones. You fight over there in the Middle East, a lot of us ain't gonna watch it, even if it's just for the time zones. And it's not just us, the UK too. It's not a good setup to do that all the time over there. Now I know that the Joshua Ruiz fight, the second fight that they had, was over there, and we watched it because we thought Ruiz was gonna run it back and keep those belts, but he didn't. We thought once Ruiz got those belts, here's a clearer path to undisputed for Wilder. But Ruiz shuck and jive and didn't take his job seriously. He put on a whole lot of weight and he couldn't contend with Joshua. He derailed himself. But that happened in the Middle East. And like I said, we was all interested to see. But at this point, Joshua has been ducking Wilder for years now. Years. And he's hoping, and there's one excuse after another. So I look at a fighter like Joshua and I be like, you're scared of Wilder. Um, Eddie looks at it like you're my cash cow, which he has been. So Eddie's, he's gonna do what's best for people that's permanently in his stable, which is Joshua. Dillian White fights for Eddie too. Don't get it twisted. And he's gonna look out for Haney, as he should. So I'm with him on everything Haney. I don't give a damn about Joshua. And only way I'm gonna give a damn about Dillian is if he fight Wilder. That's the only way I'm gonna be involved or even care. But I'm with him. I hope he is successful in trying to secure this fight for Devin Haney. And like all we can do is pray. If Devin Haney don't get this fight, he pretty much got to move on. Because as I said, he is the other fighter that they have effectively and efficiently stalled out. I don't know why. You don't want that man to be great. I don't even know how people are able to do shit like this, but they have to have help. No one fighter can do that. You have to have help. And your health are the powers that be, the sanctioning bodies. So that shit gotta stop. Y'all gotta meet up. So moving on to plan B. And I ain't talking about the pregnancy plan B. I'm talking about Dillian White's plan B. So Dillian and Eddie is getting prepared in case of Fury, in case Fury don't choose to fight him. Now, we talked about why that's a good fight. It's a good fight. Like, who cares if them two chop it up? But it's not a good fight. Like people gonna be dying to see it. Again, either you could be a fan like you following the belts, because there is a belt there, and her name is Sophia, and she need to go back home to Deontay. But so the plan B is if Fury decides he don't want to fight Dillian, because Dillian is his ordered mandatory now, then Tyson Fury has to vacate or drop his belt or be stripped. That's what's gonna happen. And it's more than likely that is what's going to happen. We heard recently that I think it was the WBC that told Deontay Wilder to stay ready. Stay ready. And now you can see why. Because if Fury drops that belt, then more than likely him, Dillian and Wilder is going to have that face off after all. L Dub is in a building was popping king. So Eddie is, he's got his plan A, and that's for Dillian to fight Fury. If plan A don't work, it's gonna be Dillian to fight Deontay. And we already know how that gonna turn out. I hate to say we know, but I'm gonna say 70. I'm gonna actually say 80-20. I'm almost positive that Deontay will beat Dillian White, but it's boxing, anything can happen. So this is playing, like I said, this is playing Deontay's ranking also at number one in the WBC. Now, it's very possible that Fury would choose to vacate. If not, he'll be stripped of his title because of non-compliance, simply because of that. Fury has never really defended any titles that he's won. Like when he took them titles off of Klitschko, he never defended those. That's how he is. I mean, he one of them people like cheating works once, like the first go around. It don't really always keep working. You know what I'm saying? And the person who cheats would typically want to cheat and let it be done and not have to revisit. If you were sure about yourself, you would have never cheated in the first place. But that's kind of how you got to look at Tyson Fury, because that's how he is. Um, if that happens, Dillian will have to, like I said, face Wilder. At that point, it's all about the money. And this is why I said earlier, it's all about the money. If you think about it, I told y'all how these sanctioning bodies work. Let me take a regular fighter, and let me just reiterate. Let me take a regular, run of the mill fighter who makes a couple of $100,000 a fight. Okay. Every time that title is on the card, like you have to either defend it or you're going for a vacant. Let's say you're the title holder, like in case of Fury. Because Fury makes the money he makes, he has to pay a lot of money to the WBC sanctioning bodies. Not only do he have to pay, but Bob Arum do too. So every time Fury fights with the title, and I told you like a run of the mill average fighter, the minimum is $7,000. That's what you pay as a fighter to the WBC for getting in the fight when you hold that title. Your promoter also has to pay for that. Your trainer and other people in your corner has to pay a percentage to the WBC. Now this is small potatoes type fighters. Fighters like I said that make maybe a couple of 100,000, maybe less. Imagine if you're a fighter who's made like $50 million in a fight, which Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder has done, from my knowledge, and I might be wrong, but somewhere in the realm of $50 million for that second fight. I don't even know what they made for the third fight. So if you a fighter who makes that kind of money, w- imagine what you paying the WBC. And then think about Tyson Fury. He has no scruples. You can't even make up belts for him. The WBC has a lot of belts. And all them belts except one, I believe, you have to pay a sanctioning fee. That's a lot of damn money. You think Tyson Fury is welcoming any of those accolades or that belt? You don't have a straight up and down person when you're dealing with Tyson Fury. Now Deontay Wilder, on the other hand, he had the WBC. He defended that belt, you know, I think more than anybody else. Or he held the belt as long as I think he was tied with Ali, but I don't know. But he held the belt for a long time. Deontay probably wouldn't have mind. But this is why I say the WBC and the other sanctioning bodies, they're not a nonprofit organization, and they supposed to be. Everything they doing as we see it is for profit. The WBA is trying to clean up their act. I'm not saying they're innocent, but that was the whole point with the box off for Ugas, and that was the whole point with the getting rid of all these interim belts and this, that, and the other. But the WBC is not making them moves. They is seriously blatantly in our face trying to inject themselves in boxers' careers. Not just them, it's not just them, but also trying to make money off it. But Tyson don't want to play that reindeer game. He ain't with all that. He's not a willing participant. And the WBC knows that. And plus, Tyson Fury put on a match. Let's say he put on a match. It don't matter if it's Taco Meat, aka Dillian White, or whoever else. It's not gonna make money. Not what they want. You know when they make money? The WBC, you know what they looking at? You know when we make money? Is when Deontay Wilder fight. That's guaranteed. That's money in the bank. Deontay has never wavered or showed them any reason that he wouldn't pay those sanctioning fees. He never put them down. He never did any of that. But they kind of shitted on him. But they see the person that they wanted to have the belts, it ain't making no money for them. I know. I know. Let's get Deontay back in the mix. Tyson Fury do not really want to have to face Deontay a fourth time. He doesn't want to. He don't want to. They made a bad call in the long run, I would say, because one, you know that the fix was in with Deontay. That first fight, he won. I don't care what nobody say. I don't care how nobody feel. He won. You cannot count over an unconscious person. And Tyson Fury admitted that he was unconscious. So for you as a ref to count over him, that is a big error on your part. But is it on purpose error, or was it just a genuine mistake? I think I don't think it was genuine. I don't know how I feel about was it on purpose, because I hate to think of Jack Reese, who was the ref in that first fight. I hate to think of him like that. Y'all see my dog? He on guard duty. What's up, Daddy? That's what I call him. Um, and the other one, that's my girl. Um, so it's coming down to the money for them. You pick these people that you know are not the creme de la creme, but you picking them for biased reason to hold your sanctioning body belts. And then when you see they don't generate money like the people who should have held the belt, now we got to reshuffle the deck. That's what's going on. That's what's going on. If the IBF, WBO, and WBA want some money, they better Find a champion that can bring that money. Now Eddie would say is AJ. Maybe they could get them a steady stream of money, and it's okay because AJ makes money too. But ain't nobody gonna make no money in the heavyweight division like Deontay. And think about it. It don't matter who Deontay fight. And another thing the sanction bodies do when they charging people, it ain't just the fighter who holds the belt. It's and its promoter and its corner. It's also the fighter who's trying to get the belt that has to pay. But you can't take, let's say, I don't know how much I don't want to say Chris Arreola. Trying to think of a heavyweight that hasn't made the big paydays yet. You can't put them in, let's say Deontay had the WBC belt and he was due to fight somebody like Sanchez, who's relatively new on the scene. Sanchez will also have to pay sanctioning fees, and he will probably have to pay 7,000. But that ain't no money to the WBC. Why would they want that when if they get them a highfalutin heavyweight that's making money like AJ or Usyk or maybe even Ruiz, because these are the people who held those titles. If you get them, because if you get Ruiz, if Wilder had to face Ruiz, you got to pay Ruiz. You can't shortchange him. He was once a unified champion in recent times. If you fight Alexander Usyk, you got to pay him. If you fight AJ, you got to pay him. And the only way that with Fury, you got to pay him, but Fury won't make that money back unless he fighting Deontay. So the choices they all got to make. This is why you see these sanctioning bodies reshuffling the deck. If you think about the Earl Spence and Ugas fight, some of that kind of play a part too. We know that Earl had to pay step aside money, whether Earl gave it to him or the PBC gave it to him. Somebody had to pay step aside money to Stanionis. But now you got two title holders who you have to pay. You have to pay them good. So if Earl and Ugas, when they meet up, they're not paying no minimum of $7,000. And this is to each sanctioning body. And there's three on the line: the IBF, the WBA, and the WBC. On the line between Spence and Ugas, that's a lot of goddamn money. Let's just say it was the minimum. That means Earl would have to pay $21,000 if he was a couple of $100,000 fighter. Like, if Earl purses were $200,000-$300,000, I could see them charging him at a minimum $21,000 just for the fight. But Earl is his own promotional company, so that times two, 21 times two, he will have to pay. And then his corner, Derek James and all them, will have to pay a smaller percentage, like 3%. That's a lot of money for one person. Now, you're going to do the same thing to Ugas. Everything Earl just had to pay, Ugas got to pay too. So you have to pay them. This is why I think the sanctioning bodies are seeing that their little tactics and their little reindeer games where they picking their favorites is not working to their favor. And that could be the pressure that the fans are putting on by not either buying fights or, participating in their fights or whatever. That could be it. But I see the money behind it. And that's why I say we gotta factor those things in too. So Fury, one, he doesn't want to fight. He don't want to really have to defend his belt. He want to get right to the other three. And if he ever did that, he would drop him. But AJ is not gonna step aside, and Usyk is giving AJ that rematch. So that's off the table. The thing with Dillian, and I've said this in another video, Dillian is just as much of a cheater as AJ. I mean, not AJ. Fury. They could cheat together. It don't matter. But the thing is, Tyson Fury, this tactic of gaining a lot of weight, that won't work with Dillian because that's a big boy. It's not gonna work with Dillian. So you only gonna hurt yourself in the long run if you try to outweigh him by so much. You're gonna be slower than him, and he's just as big. He's not as tall as Tyson Fury, but he ain't that short neither. And he can punch. He can hurt you. So that was Fury's main tactic. Wear Deontay out with all that weight. Because for some reason, and this is his gift, he can move for a big ass dude. He can move around for a big guy. So in the end of the day, this is what it's all about. It's all about the money, y'all. It's all about the money. And more than likely, Tyson Fury, if he don't drop the belt, I'll be shocked. But I'm gonna tell you this: if they put that fight on, it's not gonna make no money. Not what they wanted to. It won't make money. Now, if he drops the belt and Dillian fights Wilder, it's gonna make money. It's gonna make a lot of money. And then this WBC gonna be like back in business again. We just had a come up. And trust me, that is at the forefront of everybody's mind who stand to gain something or make something off of these guys fighting. So that is what's going on. That's the plan B. Tell Deontay to be ready. And more than likely, Deontay and Dillian will meet up in that ring. Now, as far as Deontay being retired, I don't know nothing about that. So I can't speak on that. I know I've heard that, but I don't know nothing about it. That's why you don't hear me say nothing about it. Because if the champ wants to let everybody know he retired, he'll come out and say it with his own mouth. And I haven't seen that. And if he, I have no doubts that he will make that clear to everybody. You know what I'm saying? So as far as I'm concerned, he's still a boxer. He's still an active boxer. And we'll see. We'll see. Y'all be on the lookout for that because that fight too supposed to go down sometime in between. I'm gonna say between February and April, but I think it was March and April. So now you got Spence, Ugas, Fury, possibly in Dillian or Dillian and Deontay. Um, that might have to be pushed. If it's Deontay coming in mix, that might have to be pushed back to like May because we know Deontay broke his hand. So he had to sit out for 6 months, which would take him to April. And then the best bet is May or June. So we got these fights are coming up. And I think Deontay will be back in the mix. Spencer Ugas, I cannot call that fight. To me, I'm gonna give Spence the edge, but I can't really call it. Ugas is a great fighter, and truth be told, I thought he won when he fought Sean Porter. That was just me, but he didn't get the nod, so it is what it is. In other news, Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia, y'all know how I feel about this dude. Ryan Garcia is I don't know what to say. I don't want to keep putting the dude down, but he comes off to me like a coward. What the young people say, the clout chasing and capping and all that stuff. Ryan Garcia, which I think is horrible for a man to do. It's kind of like pocket watching. It's in this realm. Ryan Garcia uses men's name to boost his own self up. I think that's tacky. I'm gonna stop calling this man out his name. Because I've called him a coward, a punk ass, or whatever all this time. I'm gonna stop doing that. I'm gonna try to stop doing that, but stay away from the wine bottles. He's just, I don't know. This dude, I don't know what to say about him. He goes on Mike Tyson show, talk all that crap about Tank. When it's time to get it in, he ain't even trying to do nothing. He ain't even trying to put on. You know what I'm saying? So I really don't get Ryan Garcia. And Canelo being a big brother, and y'all know I don't like Canelo, but when he doing right, he doing right. He was being a big brother and was like, dude, are you serious? What are you doing with your career? He was calling Ryan out, hopefully to put that pressure on him to like make a decision. Because as we all know, boxing is not something you play. You have to do it. You can't play with this. And that's what he seemed like he doing. I don't know who he gonna fight, but they say he's in negotiation to fight Isaac Cruz. Y'all know Isaac is my dude. I've been hollering about Isaac since this summer. Y'all know that. That's my dude. He lost the Tank, but that's my dude, Isaac Cruz. And what I say about Ryan saying this, I'll believe it when I see it. Oh, before I move forward with Ryan, the ranking I think with the heavyweights is Deontay Wilder number one under the WBC, Andy Ruiz number two, Joe Joyce number three, Luis Ortiz number four, Joseph Parker number five, and Frank Sanchez number six. We know that Joseph Parker just put on a great performance this past weekend, so whatever. But getting back to the Ryan, uh, he's saying it's the time for a tune up or something. I guess that's what he's trying to say. Isaac is, and let me tell you, Ryan Garcia, Isaac Cruz is not a tune up. You better be all the way ready before you get in the ring with that dude. He's not a tune up. You might want to rethink that. That will be more than a tune up fight, and it ain't gonna be no easy win. This is the fight he claims he wants, coming off of a hand injury. If you need a tune up, which can be understandable because you just had surgery and all that, and you showed yourself in the hospital, whatever, that still ain't no proof. But I mean, I don't. Do y'all think he lied about the surgery? I don't know. You laying in the hospital bed, you could have been getting a colonoscopy for all we know. I don't know what you was doing, but you said you had hand surgery, so I'm gonna have to take you at your word. You need a tune-up fight. That don't mean pick somebody like a monster like Isaac Cruz. But I ain't trying to save you. Because if you fight him, I hope he destroys you. I just do. All I can say is, well, we'll see. And I hope that Cruz destroy you. So we clear. If this fight happens, I certainly hope he don't try to draw no parallels to Tank Davis, because that would be unfair and that would be consistent in keeping with the tradition of him using other men to spruce himself up. Meaning, if he fights Isaac Cruz and by some miracle he beats him, then he gonna be like, so see how I beat Isaac? I'm gonna do the same thing to Tank. Or I could do the same thing to Tank, but you'll never fight Tank. And Tank actually was gonna fight you, but you'll never fight him. We'll never know what you could do with Tank because you ain't gonna fight him. Don't try to fight other people and then try to parallel your performance in that, excuse me, that fight with what you possibly could have, would have, should have done with other people. You can't. These are two different people. Isaac Cruz is way different than a Tank Davis. Isaac Cruz is way different than a Devin Haney. And unless you already missed the boat to a lot of these top echelon fighters in the lightweight division. But if you fight Isaac Cruz, that's a good comeback, but it ain't a tune-up. But hey, go for it. I hope you get it. But you know his ass will. You know that Ryan gonna do that. And I predict it's all the smoke and mirrors on Ryan's part. He won't fight no one. And that's my prediction. That Ryan is saying he's gonna fight Isaac Cruz because now Isaac is a name. Ryan and all the other lightweights knew about Isaac Cruz before he fought Tank. That includes Mayweather and them. They know about all these fighters. They knew what Isaac brought to the table, and none of them was trying to fight him. I was back in the summer trying to push Isaac Cruz on Devin Haney. I was like, Devin, they ain't gonna fight you. They is not gonna fight you. Why don't you fight some of the other tougher fighters like Isaac Cruz? The other guys ain't gonna fight you though. I could never get that message out. When I've tried to catch Bill Haney on these shows, I could never get in, nothing like that, because I damn sure was gonna ask that. Hey, don't let Devin just sit on the sideline because these guys don't want to fight him. It's their loss. You know what I'm saying? We know what time it is. But in the meantime and in between time, won't Devin go ahead and fight Isaac Cruz? You know? But everybody was like, who is Isaac Cruz? Miss T. Everybody laughed. But now we all know who Isaac is. And here come Ryan. Right on time. You know, what it is? Is it clout chasing or capping? Right on time. He's gonna bring up somebody's name. He know he probably is not gonna fight just to keep his name relevant. And that shit gotta stop. It's irritating. It's conduct unbecoming. That's what it is. But that's all I have for y'all today. The pickings is getting slim. I still did not see the Ramirez fight. I wish I did. I'm still gonna go back and look at it. Um, remember when you know better, you do better. Um, like right after I get off here, I'm still gonna go try and look at it. But for some reason, I could see the fights before that, but not that. And then I had trouble with ESPN Plus. Like I said, I'm about tired of ESPN Plus. But you know, you get desperate when your favorite fighter is on there. And I got it. I swear to God, the day of Terrence Crawford fight and Sean Porter, because for some reason I thought that was gonna be regular pay-per-view, but it wasn't. So I was like struggling trying to get that fight, and it took me a couple of hours to get it up and running, and I finally did. With this fight with Brown, I didn't have to pay anything extra. I didn't have to pay nothing. Birdman is in the building. Salute Miss T. Sorry I was late, Queen. It's all right, King. You know, it ain't a lot of boxing news going on. I got to get real creative in these next couple of days. I think that was it. We do have a fight coming on Christmas Day. Hold on. Let me see. Look at the schedule. Um, yeah, Malikny Nikki Jr. versus the Lomba, and that's on Christmas Day. It's on Fox at 8 p.m. So it's free. The next fight won't be to January 1st. So that's pretty much it for the as far as actual boxing going down. DJ is in the building. Salute Miss T. I'm late as hell. You good, King? I know y'all got lives. It's Christmas. Y'all trying to get your Santa Claus on, right? Y'all got little kids. ESPN and anything Disney are having disputes with Google. Oh my goodness. Really? And I just bought that shit. Cause it came with Disney, Disney Hula, and ESPN Plus. It was like a bundle package. So they fighting with Google. He said, DJ, my Bama brother, salute family. I mean, but why Google got anything to do with those networks? Or I don't even know if you call them networks. Like, I think Disney owns ESPN, right? But I guess Disney owned Hula too, because that's the bundle that I bought. It wasn't expensive or anything. I bought the one that has no commercials. I think it was $19 a month. But you have to, like, I have a smart TV. So for me, I had to, like, I got it on my phone. The app is on my phone. So it's like I bring it up on my phone relatively easier than on the TV. Now you got those buttons you could press where it casts to the TV. I kept trying to do that. It wasn't working. You have to look at ESPN2 through the app on your TV. It's not enough that it's on your phone and you try to cast it to the TV. Mine's didn't work that way. Maybe y'all's do, but mine's didn't. And so what you had to do was you had to find the app on your TV. Now I couldn't download the app or anything, so I got it through Fire Stick. Birdman said they had a blackout Saturday. I don't know if they resolved it. Disney was being greedy and wanted customers to pay more and a lot of content. I'm on Google, aka YouTube and Google, not going for it. Maybe that's why I couldn't see it. Cause when Brown and them came on, it was right after the national anthems were being played, and then right before they rang the bell, that's when the fight popped up on my TV, and all I did was see Brown and Better BF. I didn't see that undercard, and I saw highlights. I'm been going back trying to replay it. ESPN two suck. Like it's hard as hell to get things popping. And I'm gonna tell you, you get a certain age, you don't got time for all that shit. Especially my age group of people. We don't want to be pressing buttons all motherfucking day now. We don't got time for it. We be like, fuck it, you know? Cause I'm telling you, if if it didn't work when it did, I was gonna say fuck it. I just couldn't, I wasn't gonna see it. But when it was Crawford fighting, I couldn't say fuck it. Like it was 2 hours of me trying to get that shit up, and it should be just a click of a button, huh? The hula, um, sometimes that thing don't work. You could be in the middle of a damn movie and the shit will go back to your regular TV. I'd be like, God dog. I'd be mad as hell. And it did it so many times, enough times. I don't even want to watch a movie on Hula. And Hula has some good programs. I don't even want to watch because I know, you know. But I wound up getting I got I got that bundle. I got Netflix. I got Disney, of course. I got what Disney was in that bundle, but I had Disney before my daughter had it. Um Amazon Prime. The newest one is Paramount. Y'all ain't gonna believe why I paid to see Paramount. Y'all gonna be like, Miss T, you a Trekkie? I pay for Paramount to see Star Trek. That is it. That's why I pay for Paramount. $6.99 or something like that. Or no, I'll probably pay 13 because I always get the ones with no commercial. And I got Voodoo. I got all them damn apps, but it's on my smart TV. But ESPN two, you gonna have to do Fire Stick or Roku if you want to see it on your TV. So just to start you off there, and then but you gotta set everything up either on your phone or the computer. And then once you set up some kind of way your TV knows it. I don't know how this thing works. I mean, but it's almost like it's on the internet. So like my TV is connected with everything internet or like even through my phone. So if once I HBO Max, I do it through my phone. And then once the movie comes up, I hit the little button, but I get that for free. So I don't know. I'm gonna go back and watch those fights, and maybe I'm gonna be late talking about them. So I'll probably talk about them tomorrow. I told you a little bit I could talk about. I didn't have a lot of luck looking at all the fights this weekend, but I told you I have some little information that came out today, and it's no problem for being late. But hey, DJ, so Wednesday I want to start shooting for UFC Day. I'm gonna need your help, brother. I'm trying to watch it, DJ. I watched one the other day and I made it through. I'm really, really trying. Like, I made it through. I didn't watch a couple of UFC. I don't know these people's names. So, but I welcome all the UFC watchers to the show as well. But I couldn't carry on the conversation because I don't know enough about it. I don't even know the rules and regulation and the tactics and everything that you got to use. So, but I am watching, DJ. I'm trying to, especially when I can catch it because it's always on Showtime, just as much as boxing is. So just wanted to let you know I'm doing that. I don't know who else in here likes UFC, but a sister trying to acclimate herself to it. But anywho, remember y'all, when you know better, you do better. Thank y'all, brothers, for coming in. And I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.